Yo, this girl is 4'3". try this. Hell yeah. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let's try again.
It's because you're a dude.
Doctor keeps misgendering me. Look. No fucking way. No way. Okay, we're gonna try this. Hell yeah. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, let's try again.
That's fucking sad. Alright, what do I need up here? What do I need? I need... Make sure I got some... Oh no. Oh no. I'm running out of bud. Alright, so definitely gonna need some bud. I might even have like a little drinky drink this afternoon. I don't have anything strong. I might just sip on some wine while we're in here. Have a little wine without whining. A little wine without whining. I'm gonna go change my clothes.
My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revival. Teaching us some major lessons. In Death Valley scribes, that symbol still a mystery. On their head stand tall, calling out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons. But I gained a new piece is what I got on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zachariah Sitchin, Eric Von Däniken, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the crazy Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. But what's left for the meat except destruction and defeat? If we can't uncover history's mysteries, step me, new right, stepping, perfectly stepping, teaching us some major lessons. In Death Valley scribes, and symbols still a mystery. On their head stand tall, calling out their history. The global cataclysms that was written in traditions of all the ancient cultures was something they truly witnessed. And the younger Dryas theory said it was common collisions. Manu from the Hindu and Noah from the scriptures. Then the watchers came to rebuild and give us all the wisdom. With the comprehension of Puma's position. The Emerald tablets and thought talks about it all. And the Dogon tribe said we came from the stars. Serious peace, seriously, it's an enigma. Fingerprints of the gods painted a new picture. The aberration of Orion's correlation, hidden by the mystery schools and the Freemasons. It seems like ancient knowledge has been kept adjacent, next to the fallacies that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking, cause history's mysteries need more investigation. Step me, view right, stepping, go back, click stepping, teaching us some major lessons. In Death Valley scribes, that symbol still a mystery. On their head stand tall, calling out their history. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the crazy Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the crazy Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the crazy Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Tap, tap, bang, cigarettes kept stepping. Gobekli Tepe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scribes are symbols, still a mystery. Old man hands stand tall, carving out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of the features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher.
Yo,
Sunday school revival was the
good.
pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and all pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons, but I gave the new thesis when I got it from my research. Cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin, Aaron finds Anakin, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the graves and little Marians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Galilean dialectic, the days of the week are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. Oh, it's left for the meat, accept destruction and defeat. If we can't uncover history's mysteries. Tap, tap, bang, cigarettes kept stepping. Gobekli Tepe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scribing symbols, still a mystery. Old man hands stand tall, carving out the history. The global cataclysms that was written in traditions of all the ancient cultures was something they truly witnessed. In the Euphrates theory said it was coming collisions. Mana from the Hindu and Noah from the scriptures. Then the watchers came to rebuild and give us all the wisdom. With the comprehension of Puma Poker precision, the emerald tablets of God talks about it all. And the doggone tribe said we came from the stars. Sirius B, Sirius Bliss, an enigma. Fingerprints of the god painted a new picture. The aberration of Orion's correlation, hidden by the mystery schools and the Freemasons. Seems like ancient knowledge has been kept adjacent, next to the fallacy that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking, cause history's mysteries need more investigation. Tap, tap, bang, cigarettes kept stepping. Gobekli Tepe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scribing symbols, still a mystery. Old man hands stand tall, carving out their history. Yeah.
I've been rolling this song just trying to find the best version. Either I like the way the lyrics are read out, or I like the beat. But lately I can't find one that has good lyrics and a good beat. And the one that I liked the best, that had the best beat, I didn't word it right, so it doesn't sound exactly like I wanted it to sound, even though the beat was fucking super dope. Now I can't find another beat that is good as the one that I really like. So I just keep rolling this same song over and over and over, and I ran out of credits already. I want a better beat than this.
Tap, 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 cigarettes kept stepping. Go back and tap back, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scribes, their symbols still a mystery. Only cats stand tall, carving out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. So history's mysteries. Tap, tap, bang, cigarettes kept stepping. Gobekli Tepe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scribes are symbols, still a mystery. Old man hands stand tall, carving out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that history's mystery. History.
See that beat right? They go hard already to start with, yeah. But I ain't worded right on this version.
Cigarettes kept stepping. Go back, keep stepping. Teaching us some ancient lessons. Indus Valley scribes, their symbols still a mystery. Old men can't stand tall, carving out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons. But I gained a new thesis when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zachariah Ascension, Eric Von Daniken.
I did that at work one time. My coworker just looked at me. She's like, "What the fuck? You drank the whole bottle?" I'm like, "It's just a bottle of water." I was thirsty as shit. I would guzzle a bottle of water.
All the answers to the meaning and the message. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science are called the aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week. All the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. What was left for the meek except destruction and defeat? If we can't uncover history's mysteries. Cigarettes kept stepping. Go back, keep stepping. Teaching us some ancient lessons. Indus Valley scribes, their symbols still a mystery. Old men can't stand tall, carving out their history. The global cataclysm that was written in traditions of all the ancient cultures was something they truly witnessed. In the younger Dryas theory said it was common collisions. Manu from the Hindu and Noah from the scriptures. Then the watchers came to reveal and give us all the wisdom with the comprehension of Pumapun's precision. The immortality thought talks about it all in the doggone tries. And we came from the stars. Sirius B, seriously, it's an enigma. Fingerprints of it, painted a new picture. An aberration of Orion's correlation. Hidden by the mysteries, rules and the Freemasons. It seems like ancient knowledge has been kept adjacent. Next to the fallacies that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking. Cause history's mysteries need more investigation. Self-tipping, cigarettes keep stepping. Go back, keep stepping. Teaching us some ancient lessons. Indus Valley scribes, their symbols still a mystery. Old men can't stand tall, carving out their history. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call it aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week. Are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week. Are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak.
I don't know why I didn't keep this one. That was a good version.
Self-tipping, cigarettes kept stepping. Go back, keep stepping. Teaching us some ancient lessons. Indus Valley scribes, their symbols still a mystery. Old men can't stand tall, carving out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus.
When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons. Got a new thesis when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zachariah Ascension, Eric Von Daniken, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message.
The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians.
Religion calls them angels, but science would call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week. Are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. But what's left for the meek except destruction and defeat? If we can't uncover history's mysteries. Self-tipping, cigarettes kept stepping. Go
Gobekli Tepe teaches us some ancient lessons. Study scribes, the symbol still a mystery. Olmec hands stand tall, carving out the history. The cataclysm that was written in traditions of all the ancient cultures was something they truly witnessed. It was common collisions. Manu from the Hindu way, Noah from the scriptures. Then the watchers came to rebuild and give us all the wisdom. With the comprehension of Pumapuku's precision. The emerald tablets of Thoth talks about it all in the Dogon tribe. Said we came from the stars. Sirius B, Sirius is an enigma. Fingerprints of the gods painted a new picture. The operation of Orion's correlation, hidden from the mystery schools and the Freemasons. It seems like this knowledge has been kept adjacent, next to the fallacies that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking, cause mysteries need more investigation. Hey, Tepe, cigarettes, Tepe, teach us some ancient lessons. Scribes, the symbol still a mystery. Olmec heads stand tall, carving out their history. Fuji, what's good, bro? How you doing this afternoon, man? I'm still fucking with this same song. I done made like, I ain't gonna lie, man, I done made like 30 versions of this same song just trying to get it right. I don't know how I skipped over this version, but I done made like 10 versions after this one, and that one sounds really good. I like the flow, I like the beat on it. I might not roll this shit no more, because I have one other version that I've already saved that I thought was the better version, but I like that beat right there a whole lot with that shit, yo. And I believe all the words are correct. I don't see any like mishaps in here. This is the correct version of the lyrics. That one's not bad at all.
Tepe, cigarettes kept stepping. Gobekli Tepe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scribes are symbols still a mystery. Olmec hands stand tall, carving out the history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teachers. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of...
This one, I like the voice on this one better. It sounds more clear and, I don't know, like a bit more of a northern accent to it, I guess. Yeah, but this one isn't the bad. There's so many good versions of it. I think I'm gonna just stop rolling it and just really pick one of these beats. I think it's just the beats now, because I've liked enough of them where it gets the flow right. Most of the time it'll get the flow pretty good. And so that last beat and this beat, they sound pretty good. I'll just stop rolling this shit, because I've been using all my credits for like 2 days on the same song. Like I say, the beat isn't bad on this one. I like that other beat better, but that's what I keep saying. I'm trying to find one that has a good voice and a good beat. The last one got a good voice and a beat, but I like this voice better, but I like the other beat better.
The teacher, Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons. But I gave the new thesis when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin, Aaron Von Zanekin, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Little Marians. Religion calls them angels, but science they call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the day of the week. All the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. But what's left for the meat, except destruction and defeat, if we can't uncover history's mysteries. Yeah. Tepe, cigarettes kept stepping. Gobekli Tepe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scratching symbols still a mystery. Olmec hands stand tall, carving out the history. The global cataclysms that was written in traditions of all the ancient cultures was something they truly witnessed. And the Unitarian theory said it was common collisions. Manu from the Hindu way, Noah from the scriptures. And the ones came to rebuild and give us all the wisdom. With the comprehension of Pumapuku's precision, the emerald tablets of Thoth talks about it all in the Dogon tribe. Said we came from the stars. Sirius B, Sirius is an enigma. Fingerprints of the gods painted a new picture. The aberration of Orion's correlation, hidden by the mystery schools and the Freemasons. It seems like ancient knowledge has been kept adjacent, next to the fallacies that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking, cause history's mysteries need more investigation. Zap Depe, cigarettes kept stepping. Go back to Depe, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley, scrapping symbols, still a mystery. Olmec heads stand tall, carving out their history. Anunnaki and Lattice, the Greys and Lumerians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week. All the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. But what's left for the me do? We know it from the scriptures, and the watchers came to rebuild. To give us all the wisdom with the comprehension, the form of people's precision. The emerald tablets of thought talks about it all in the dome. God tries said we came from the stars. Serious peace, seriously, it's in the name of fingerprints of the gods painted a new picture. Then the aberration of Orion's correlation, hidden by the mystery schools and the Freemasons. It seems like ancient knowledge has been kept adjacent. Next to the fallacy that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking, cause history's mysteries need more investigation.
It fucked it up at the end right there now. Like it did too much and like, I don't know. I don't like that part. I don't know, that little mix break it did in the middle, it kind of like switched the bars around a little bit. I don't know. Like I said, I'm gonna stop rolling it. I'm gonna just, which one was it? I think this one right here. The beat is better with the one you just played? Yeah, bro. Man, hey, all is gonna have this damn song memorized before long. Everybody, this is, I don't know, this might be the one right here. Let's listen to it one more time though. This might be the one.
My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from the seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons. But I gained a new thesis when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Bottom Data Kid, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys and Lumerians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic, the days of the week. All the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. All what's left for the meat, except destruction and defeat. If we can't uncover history's mysteries. Cigarettes kept stepping. Go back, eat that bed, teaching us some ancient lessons. In this valley scribes, their symbols still a mystery. Olmec heads stand tall, carving out their history. The global cataclysms that was written in traditions of all the ancient cultures was something they truly witnessed. And the younger Dryas theory said it was common collisions. Manu from the Hindu and Noah from the scriptures. Then the watchers came to reveal and give us all the wisdom with the comprehension of Pumu's precision. The emerald tablets of thought talks about it all. And the doggone tribe said we came from the stars. Serious beat, seriously, it's an enigma. Fingerprints of the gods painted a new picture. The aberration of Orion's correlation, hidden by the mystery schools and the Freemasons. It seems like ancient knowledge has been kept adjacent. Next to the fallacies that keep us all complacent. Elevate your mind and expand your way of thinking, cause history's mysteries need more investigation. Cigarettes keep stepping. Go back.
be the one right there. He said go with this one for sure. Hey, bro, that's the one, right? That shit go hard. Okay, that's the one. That's the one. So I'm gonna go to I go to home, and then I go to no, I go to library, go to playlist. Okay, this playlist got 12 songs on it, but the last 3 songs are history mysteries because I kept saving. Yo, I got so many good versions of it, and the first version I saved was, I was so anxious to do it that I just did it with that first verse by itself. But that first verse and the fucking beat on that first verse goes so hard, and how it mixes, man, I want to keep that one on there. But no lie, yo, when I wrote that, like I said, I wrote that second verse twice. The first time I really wrote it, I thought it was good, but I don't know. I plugged it in and it didn't sound right, and I don't know. The more I tried to rap that the first time I wrote it, it just, I don't know. After a while, I ain't even like it no more. So like I say, the other night, I couldn't sleep, and I just stayed up, like, right in that second verse, and that shit came out good. So that's why I really want, like, the best version of this shit I can find, because I ain't gonna lie, yo. Like I'll tell people all the time, I enjoy writing. I'm not great at writing. It's fun to me. Like when I'm get the itch for it and I'm in the zone, writing is fun as hell. But that shit is hard. Writing isn't easy at all. Just writing anything isn't easy. Then trying to write poetry or raps that rhyme and then make it go to a beat, like that shit is harder than people think it is. And I'm not the best at it by any means at all. I just really enjoy writing. And so like when I'm in that zone and I'm struggling and I'm looking up words, making sure I'm using words properly and looking for references, making sure I'm using references properly, and I don't know. It's a struggle for me to write, but when I produce something that I like, that I really like, I don't know. I feel good about that shit. And this song right here it's not bad. This is one of my better attempts at writing a song. So I'm actually proud of this one. There's very, very few songs that I still enjoy. You know, I recorded over 30 songs when I was when I was in it and trying to really do it. But out of those 30 songs that I recorded, no lie, man, I broke that, like my mixtape I put on YouTube, I broke that shit down to 13 tracks. And then out of those 13 tracks that I put on YouTube, I really, really like maybe 6 of them. The other ones they're good. They're okay songs. You know, they're good enough for like hibbity hoo ha blue blah type shit. You know what I'm saying? It's just music. But like songs that really say something, I only tried that, at the latter part of my writing experience, where I really tried to put like substance into the music. And then I figured out how hard it is to convince people to listen to music with substance. So, oh well. But like I said, I still enjoy writing. And then for a long time, I didn't write because I wasn't recording music. Didn't, have a way to record music or the financial means to record music. And so I just stopped writing. The most people would get is, like right now on my YouTube streams and Instagram streams, I'll spit some corny freestyles. And I'm even worse at freestyling than I am at writing. So you can really just get some bullshit from me just if I'm bored and, the thoughts start rambling. I'll spit a corny freestyle. I ain't scared to freestyle in front of people. But for years, that's like the most I've been doing. Until last year, I really just thought about writing again and got some beats and wrote those few verses right there. But now, once again, with this AI music maker shit, I really just want to write more stuff because I just like my lyrics. I feel like I'm a ghostwriter for the AI. You know, it doesn't sound like you. Okay, that's fine. It doesn't sound like me. Those are all my words, though. Those are my words and my thoughts and my ideas, and I'm just letting somebody else rap that shit for me. That's how I look at it now. So I keep burning out my credits every day on this shit. I'm almost thinking about getting a subscription. That's how fun this shit is to me. I really might like just. I don't know if you have to buy an annual. Most things now, especially with these online AI services, it's like something a month, but they make you pay for the whole year. You're not gonna pay month by month. So I don't know. Their low tier service, that shit is actually cheap. I think it's like less than $100 for the year. I might do that, you know. And if I do like get a subscription for this thing, I feel like that would prompt me to write more because I'm paying for it now. That's just like Midjourney. I and create AI art and all that good stuff because I'm paying for it, and it's a really cool service. It's like the front runner for images right now. So I don't mind paying for my Midjourney. I say just in the 1 year that I've had it so far, I've already produced 3 paintings from it, and I have 1 more lined up already, and plus however many more I'm gonna get from it. So even if I just keep a subscription long enough to complete 1 series of paintings, I think that's even worth it. Do my little AI phase. What program is it? It's called Suno. 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 And it is free, bro. It's free. You get 50 credits a day. To make a song is 10 credits. You can do it 5 times, but each time you say create a song, it gives you 2 versions of the song every time. So even though you get 50 credits, you can make 10 songs a day for free. And you can download it and use it for whatever you want to use it for. So this is not a bad thing, bro. Like I said, it's fun as hell, and it's making some pretty dope ass music. Huh? Is it not? Is it not?
Said the rock kept stepping, teaching us some ancient lessons. In his valley scribes, they said was still a mystery. Woman can't stand tall, carving out their history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still an unbeliever. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons, but I gained a new pieces when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Von Daniken, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message.
Yo, that's my favorite part on this one, where it gives it that breath and breaks down where he says Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Von Daniken. He breathes, and well, it breathes, and then the beat drops in and out. Yo, that's why I had to keep this version. Just that one part right there just sounds like a real person in the studio. That shit is so wild.
Full of demons, but I gained a new pieces when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Von Daniken, looking for the answers to the meaning and the message. And they the knocking Atlantis, the Grays and Lumerians. Religion calls them angels, but science I call them aliens. Alien dialectic, the days of the week. All the names of ancient gods cast spells when we speak. But what's left for the weak except destruction and defeat? If we can't uncover history's mysteries. Zeph single rock kept stepping, teaching us some ancient lessons. In his valley scribes, they said was still a mystery. Woman can't stand tall, carving out their history. history. My grandma was a preacher, but I'm still a non-believer. She raised me from a seed, so I received all of her features. She told me that the Bible was the rules and the teacher. Sunday school revivals, the pews and the bleachers. She told me I should worship God and always pray to Jesus. When I said I don't believe it, she told me I'm full of demons. But I gained a new pieces when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin, Eric Von
Danikin. I said I didn't believe it, don't believe it, don't believe it, don't believe it. Yo, that mix right there, this shit go hard. Boom, boom, boom.
The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians.
Hold on. What about yo? They just a couple of parts of this right here.
Demons, but I gained a new pieces when I got up on my research, cause I really started reading all the myths and the legends. Zechariah Sitchin,
Eric Von Danikin.
when I said I don't believe it, 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 don't believe it. Hey, the Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science and call them aliens. Alien dialectic, the days of the week are the names of ancient gods. Cast spells when we speak.
Yo, this right, I wish I had the fucking second verse on this beat. Oh my god, bro. After hearing that one and I saved that one, I was like, that's when I was like, no. I gotta write. I gotta that one, that shit right there deserves a second verse. Gotta put a second verse on that shit. Zechariah Extension, Eric Von Danikin. When I said I don't believe it, don't believe it, don't believe it. The Anunnaki, Atlantis, the Greys, and Lemurians. Religion calls them angels, but science will call them aliens. Hegelian dialectic. The days of the week are the names of ancient gods who cast spells when we speak. Everybody know that, right? This is what I always found interesting too, is we don't believe Suno, that's it. We don't believe in any of these gods anymore, but we still pay homage to them by keeping their names alive within the days of the week. Every day of the week is the name of a god. Why do we do that? I just always just wondered, like, weird shit like that. Why? Okay, we don't believe in these motherfuckers, and you go to church, or you go to mass, or you go to the Kingdom Hall, and you worship your God, who is the only, to you, is the only true. This stream is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a professional in any field. I do not hold any degrees or certifications in any field at all. This is for YouTube and Instagram. This stream is strictly for entertainment purposes only. Do not believe anything I say. I do not give out advice, whether it be political, financial, medical, or anything else otherwise. So please don't believe anything I say. If you do think anything I say may be true, I always advise you to do your own research and figure things out for yourself, because I'm completely wrong most of the time, because I don't know what I'm talking about, and I'm only doing this for fun, and this stream is for entertainment purposes only. Thank you. Instagram, YouTube, entertainment purposes only. But yeah, so I just always wondered, like, if you go to all these different religious sects, Catholic, Christian, Baptist, whatever, like I say, Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, all this shit, and you have your own idea of God, who should be the only true and living God, but every day you say the day of a week, you're calling out the name of another God. And nobody finds that awkward. Well, you know, they named the days of the week, you know, long ago, and we just still use those days. And yeah, you can change them shits. You could have been changing them shits, but no. Why? Because these names were important and powerful names. very important, powerful names. I think it's only the app is only on Apple. The app, and they just put the app out like 2 weeks ago. It's a very new app. And the app functions just as good as the website. But I do most of mine on the website just because it's easier to type and it's easier to navigate through the interface. Like the UI is way more friendly on the big version. But the app does work though. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's everywhere yet. It might only be on Apple right now. You know how Apple is, man. They be putting out that money to get shit first or get exclusive rights to a lot of that shit. Yo, Horace, what's good, bro? How you doing? Hey man, I sent you that mixtape. I gotta send you my new mixtape I'm here working on, bro. My new old mixtape. I've been taking all my old songs. I know I sent you a couple of them, yo. But that's all I've been doing lately, man. Updating some old music. Peace and love. I know that's right, bro. Man, we gotta chill soon, man. It's been way too long, dog. It's been way too long. But I know you're a busy man. That's what I like though. The motherfucker had too much time. Hey, they ain't doing something right. You always free? You ain't never doing nothing? Nuh-uh. You can't fuck with them type of people. Too much time on your hand, people. But my man say he be busy as hell lately, you know? Responsibilities and shit. We gotta definitely make time though, bro. Why is this thumb giving me issues right now? I gotta write some new political shit, I guess. It's probably the next. Well, that digital domination, you know what? Damn, what if I roll that one again? But I rolled digital domination like 30 times too before I got to that version that I actually put on the playlist. That's why I be saying like I just need to get to a certain point and stop, and then just stop rolling these motherfuckers. Cause you can do this shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. That's why I keep thinking like, damn man, I might get a paid subscription at least for a year, and I'll roll one song 100 times to make sure, just to make absolutely sure I've heard the best version that this shit can give me. That's the same thing with the Midjourney image prompt. You'll put in a prompt, and rarely do you get something you want the first time. Sometimes you'll get it, but you got to just roll it and keep rolling the prompt, reframing it, reword it a little bit, and eventually it'll start spitting out shit that you want. I think the same thing is with this music thing, and that's why I do keep rolling the same songs over and over, and like I say, keep liking the ones that I really do like, and then still roll it again. Okay, this one isn't a bad one. Like. Okay, now roll it. Give me another one, and do that shit over and over. I wish I would have found this shit a couple months ago. I would have been writing so much crazy shit about Ukraine and Biden. I still got to get something done before this motherfucker is not president. I want to talk shit about him in a song while he's still the president. It's kind of childish, but hey. If I drink a whole bottle of water, just nothing, I'm still thirsty. I don't know why I be so thirsty lately. Like, feel like I'm dehydrated or something. It's like I can't get enough water some days. And I drank 2 bottles of water this morning at the gym. I drank a bottle of water with my breakfast. I had a soda for lunch. Damn, I had a soda for lunch, and then I had a cup of coffee not too long ago. That's probably why I'm thirsty as fuck. I got down. Yeah. I forgot I had that coffee. Alright, so tomorrow is Friday. Man, look. Did you find it? You found the site, yo? I put one of my coworkers at work on that shit. He's a pretty smart guy. Like, he used to teach um physics. I think he was a physics teacher at the university. This motherfucker's teaching some hard ass math on like college level. But he said I don't know. He never told me himself, but my boss said he had several reasons why he was tired of that university, and was willing to make a huge pay cut actually just to come work with us. I was like, what the fuck, bro? That he's like he's a he's a damn nerd. That I like nerds, yo. He's fucking smart as shit and never with the small talk most of the time. Most of the time it's damn We just had like some cool ass conversations. We'd be on the same shit sometimes, but then we disagreed about uh, a few things, but like on an intellectual level, he was like, no, 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 it's like this. I'm like, well, you know, kinda, but it could be like this too. He's like, yeah, well, kinda, but not really. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Nobody's in my Instagram stream at all. In that shit. Shit
One,
just,
two, three, four, five, six, seven.
shit just running for no reason. Hmm. Yeah, well, hey man, yeah, pull out the laptop. You know what? You ain't even, bro, you don't even need the app. You don't even need the app. You can just go to the site from your phone. You can just go to the site from your phone, bro. You don't need the app. Uh, so the Suno app, like, that's the app right there. But you don't need that shit. You can just go to Google search and go to Suno.com, and it's still. So that's how it looks on the. If you search it in the web search, and that's how it looks when the app comes up. Even when I go to my library, like that shit looks different. Like there's not as many features, or like you gotta like navigate through that little bar menu to get to all the stuff. But yeah. So that's on the web, and that's the app. Like you don't you don't have to have the app. You can go online on Android, right?
Have you ever met an Asian guy? No. Alright, let's get that chicken out. Check it out. Yeah? Alright, Big Daddy. It's hot. This thing could play for the All Blacks, eh? A lot of bone back here, too, on this baby. God, it's hot. Hot, baby. Oh, there we go, huh? Look at that fillet. Oh, yeah, look at that, baby. That's a damn fillet right there. That's just Berlin Wall, and baby, get that cut, homie. Praise God, baby. Oh, yeah. Dear God, look at it. You want to have a little voice? Yep. People want chicken, huh? You want chicken bones? Damn, you don't feel that heat, huh? That thing is blazing hot, bro. You got chicken bones? You got chicken bones? Bro, your receptus is down, homie. Your receptus is down. Hey, got some bill? Oh, my God, bro. This is blazing hot. Whoa. Your receptus is off, baby. You got to come up a little bit. Ooh, chicken bones. But you going to take 40% of my paycheck in taxes? Most definitely. Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna allow my Android, nigga." I'm asking a question, man. I ain't never had no Android, so I don't know. I don't know. I was just asking questions. Yeah, I'm gonna learn with my Android. Yo.
It has to mate.
Whoa. I'm trying to get you to stop pissing my community.
You're kind of adding legitimacy to slightly unhinged science fiction.
I wouldn't have been able to appear with Terrence if I didn't think there was something in what he was doing.
The platform to be accepted for the ideas is not social media.
Neil himself doesn't appear conversant in the history of science and reviewing.
It's 10 times easier to produce something that's BS, and so than it is to refute it.
Science is a branding problem. If you're arguing at the level of the specifics of the science, you have already lost.
Science has become a pagan faith.
Effectively, there are no professors who are standing up in good standing as experts doing the job that now Candace Owens is going to fill.
Trust the science became a mantra during the COVID pandemic, but in the years since, and partly as a consequence, a rising tide of people are doing quite the opposite. Challenging the scientific mainstream is in vogue. Nowhere is this better illustrated than the recent viral phenomenon of actor Terrence Howard on the Joe Rogan podcast, the biggest media platform in the world right now, arguing that 1 × 1 actually equals 2, among other bizarre theories.
They don't show that hydrogen has the same tone as carbon.
What do you mean by tone?
Same tone, same key of E. You keep dividing light by 2, and you'll ultimately get back to the audible sound of it, because there was a relationship between light and color, sound and tone, matter and shape. At a given point, Mars was here in the Goldilocks zone. Everything has an equal and opposite. It has to mate. Mating is a big part of what we do. The boron mates with nitrogen, and that's how the carbon happens. 96% of physics is unknown matter that they've had to make up to account for it, and we were able to build Saturn. Man, don't turn my phone off. Don't do that. Every time I get ready, well, because I know they're watching me right now, and they're mad at me.
Who's they?
The politicians and the authorities that give the politicians their accreditation. And our world economy is based off of 1 × 1 = 1.
You think they fuck with your phone?
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Whoa.
Well, there were 4 hours of that, but it's reached tens of millions of people. It's been a true viral phenomenon, like I said. Well, many in the scientific establishment expressed alarm at the apparently limitless reach of wild theories at a time science has a reputation problem. Professor Neil deGrasse Tyson, perhaps the most famous scientist on the planet, had this to say.
To get set up for therapy, and I use this room as my office, but the desk is over here, and so when I'm seated at the desk, this is the background. I have my therapy session, which is virtual.
If you're a fan of a subject, let's say, a hobbyist, let's call it, it's possible to know enough about that subject to think you're right, but not enough about that subject to know that you're wrong. The platform to be accepted for the ideas is not social media. It is not Joe Rogan. It is not my podcast. It is research journals where attention can be given on a level that at the end of the day offers no higher respect for your energy and intellect than by declaring that what's in it is either right or wrong or worthy of publication or not.
Well, others disagree. They argue the old system needs to be shaken up. The questioning and challenging mainstream institutions and theories is the only real way to actually get to the truth. Here to debate this, the podcaster and cosmologist at the University of California, Professor Brian Keating, host of Impact Theory, Tom Villier, but I'll start with Dr. Eric Weinstein, mathematician and OG of the intellectual dark web and creator of the Portal podcast. Well, Eric, welcome back to Uncensored. Really fascinating to see how big this has all blown in the last few days. For those who didn't watch the Terence Howard 4-hour, I don't know what you would call it, theory-a-thon, let's be kind. What were the sort of main premises he was coming out with that have captured everyone's attention?
Well, I think that he made several outrageous claims that were more or less baseless as far as either the heterodox or the orthodox view of science, that 1 × 1 is equal to 2, that the periodic table should be rearranged around earlier work from the 1920s, that he had a theory of physics based on platonic solids with curved linear sides. I don't think any of those hold up to any kind of scrutiny. That said, he definitely has some very interesting engineering claims. And he's got some very interesting geometric structures that could make beautiful lighting, fantastic art. And he is saying some things that people are deriding from a scholarly perspective that actually have some merit. So it's a very bizarre and complicated situation, but it is not complicated at the root. There's nothing wrong with standard orthodox science, and I say that as a very strong critic of the system. So if you wanted to hear it from somebody with a PhD who's nevertheless not shy about savaging the institutions when that is what they deserve, I would say that the level of doubt that he has cast on simple things like arithmetic is completely unwarranted. But it's a very bizarre situation to watch an entire nation that depends on technology and science for its advantage suddenly question whether or not 1 × 1 equals 1.
What is fascinating to me is the last time I had anything to do with Terence Howard, I interviewed him at CNN about 10 years ago when he did a movie about the Tuskegee Airmen. And the next thing, he's doing a 4-hour podcast with Joe Rogan in which he's airing the most sort of intensely complex theories, many of which, as you say, might be completely for the birds. Were you aware that Terence Howard was thinking this way, was moving to a place where he could even conduct an interview like that?
Well, to be honest, I didn't know who Terence Howard was, so I didn't have an image for him. But had you asked me, I would have thought back to Werner Herzog doing the entire film Fitzcarraldo to test his engineering theories about how less technologically advanced people could move heavy objects many miles uphill. He created an entire film to test his engineering theories. Hedy Lamarr famously developed spread spectrum technology, despite being a screen siren back in the 30s and 40s. So just as I don't think it's very strange to find out that Steve Martin is an incredible banjo player, I don't find it at all odd that a polymath like Terrence Howard would have such theories. I don't think that the theories about math and physics and chemistry are incredibly deep, so I'm going to push back on that. But I do think that he knows quite a lot about many things, and he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson said that he people could know enough to sort of ask questions and stuff, but maybe not enough to know when they're wrong. In other words, when they're presented with, quite complex science that has been peer-reviewed and is deemed to be established scientific fact, that he doesn't know enough about the detail to understand why he's wrong to question it.
You mean the Dunning-Kruger effect, as Neil said?
Yeah.
It's kind of ironic, actually, because it feels to me like Neil deGrasse Tyson is himself a victim of the Dunning-Kruger effect when it comes to peer review, as his comments about Sir Arthur Eddington using the 1919 total solar eclipse to prove that Einstein's theories about a star warping space, in particular our sun, appear to be borne out. Neil claims that was sent to a peer-reviewed journal, whereas peer review doesn't really begin in physics and in the sciences really until the 60s and much more the 70s. So it's very interesting because Neil himself doesn't appear conversant in the history of science and reviewing.
Isn't the reality of all science a bit like with medicine, that a lot of very smart people take a look at a lot of available data, but maybe not enough to reach absolute definitive conclusions, and they espouse theories which their peer group then look at and discuss and analyze and argue about, and that's how we progress with science over decades, centuries, and so on. I mean, isn't this part of the evolution of science? Is that people like you and Neil deGrasse Tyson might vehemently disagree about stuff, but actually it's only through the disagreements you develop.
Well, but I doubt that he would agree to a program where we were going to have a discussion about this. My guess is that you reached out to him, that he was too busy to appear. My claim is that in general we avoid dust-ups for fear of looking foolish. And I think it's fine to avoid dust-ups when you feel that there's an ethical problem with the other person. But in general, science progresses by a large variety of different channels. Benjamin Jesty famously observed that his milkmaids weren't dying from smallpox, but they did get cowpox. So he injected his entire family with cow pus to give them cowpox to prevent against smallpox. It's one of the beginnings of vaccines. People would dig up bodies from graveyards to do anatomical studies. Famously, the ulcer, which was thought to be correlated with stress, was tested by the dissenting heterodox biomedical researcher and shown to have a completely different etiology by using himself as a guinea pig. I think that you have to understand that just as Benjamin Franklin took a kite and key into an electrical storm to prove that lightning was electricity, people have done all sorts of things that have nothing to do with learned societies and the genteel sort of feel afforded by peer review in order to advance science. I really think that in part what we've done is we've sanitized our own history, we've forgotten what worked.
What was interesting to me was Neil deGrasse Tyson didn't go on Joe Rogan to respond, which is what Terrence Howard wanted him to do, but you did, and here's a clip from that.
This is the other side of it.
Yeah.
This is what's very interesting. Like these, they'll come together and meet. You can see where they meet up.
Yeah.
Their natural meeting up.
Yeah.
Now this one looks exactly like this one, but they don't have the same mixture. So what this is creating, this is actually showing This is the equal and opposite. This is matter. This becomes the antimatter of it.
I can't stop you doing that.
You can't stop me. I'm so sorry. I'm my own worst enemy and my own best friend.
You know what? That was a beautiful statement.
But what I'm trying to say is the fact that they keep, and these four will keep. This is just the magnetic, what I consider the magnetic field.
You see, you stopped yourself.
I consider this to be the magnetic field because they're expanding at the center, and magnetism, in my language, magnetism expands out and becomes greater.
And you know when you just said "in my language"?
In my language.
That's what I just did with the Terrence product. In other words,
said in your language.
I'm trying to get you to stop pissing my community off.
I don't want to piss them off. I want friends. I need friends.
I know that we can get you up to speed, but can we get this thing to slow down once it gets there? You're not going to stop anything with the brakes that you got.
Now, the interesting thing to me is, as we would say in the UK, it sounded to me like he was talking a load of old cobblers. And yet you were there and you were being very generous and sort of reasonable and decent with him, allowing him to continue with his theories. That's attracted for you a lot of criticism, that by engaging in that manner with him, you're kind of adding legitimacy to slightly unhinged science fiction rather than promoting the cause of science. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, this is always a scuttlebutt, and people say. So I'm not very impressed with that. I would say that, you have. I wouldn't say it's mildly unhinged. I would say it's wildly unhinged.
Right.
A lot of this stuff is just nonsense, right? On the other hand, I was very quick to spot something that I wouldn't have been able to appear with Terrence if I didn't think there was something in what he was doing. And because I have a lot of background and experience in this area, it was possible for me to go through what he said at a speed that I think very few people would be able to go through his work.
Well, what percentage,
so, for example,
Eric, what percentage of what he was saying was true, or at least vaguely sensible, and what was completely...
Very little.
Right, so my question, if it was genuinely very little, him getting tens of millions of views for espousing complete nonsense in the main, and then someone with your pedigree and your knowledge of this subject matter going along with engaging him as a serious person in these things. Well, is that not in its own way diminishing science when you do that?
First of all, I wouldn't have had Terrence on the first time because it didn't do him a service to what he actually is doing that's interesting, to give him this amount of air. That was a good friend of mine's choice. So partially what you're seeing is a relationship between a comedian, Joe Rogan, and a mathematician, Eric Weinstein. Joe's a buddy of mine, and he matters to me. And he's the one who asked me to come on. It's, some people tried to frame it as if I wanted to go on. I had no interest in going on, but if we were going to watch a mass delusion take shape, certainly I don't want any more mass delusions. And I also don't want the idea that once these ideas are out there, that science is afraid somehow to confront, Terrence Howard's new theory of arithmetic. He doesn't have a new theory of arithmetic. And somebody needs to be the adult and say, this is not right. On the other hand, you have to appreciate that all it takes is one great idea to move the world, and a lot of BS is going to be forgiven. And if he has a great idea, I would suggest to you, it's likely his concept of a 6-rotor drone that he calls the linchpin, that's based on a mathematical error where he's fit 6 pentagons through the edges of a regular tetrahedron, giving him 6 degrees of freedom, which span what we would call the Lie algebra of the affine group, giving him the ability to rotate around a center and move to any point in 3-dimensional space. It's an incredibly cool idea. Now, I don't know that it's his. I believe that it's his, but I don't know that. I haven't done that work. I'm not a drone operator, so I don't realize, what the state of the art is. But imagine that that was the only thing that he did, and that he figured out that these things could fit together as per the Intel drone shows to form capsids in the shape of dodecahedrons, much the way we see viruses doing that with capsimeres and protein coats to protect the genetic material. That would be an incredible contribution of Terrence Howard. And the thing that really disgusts me is watching my colleagues make fun of Terrence as easily where he is right as where he is wrong. It doesn't require that. He's clearly a self-taught guy. He pronounces words like canonically, canoniacally, which indicates that he's teaching himself. And for all of this talk of the Neil deGrasse Tysons, where they say, I'm so pleased to see active minds engaging with the world of ideas, they're really not. And, you know, my feeling about this is pretending that Terrence Howard is a fool or an idiot is repugnant to me. I mean, if you just take what he said about tones and the periodic table, because of some good fortune in my life, I was able to go out to none other than one of the greatest musicians now living, Stanley Jordan, and say, Stanley, you know, let's share your work on playing the periodic table by using the ionization energies as frequency information, much the way Terrence was discussing. So my feeling is that a lot of my colleagues just don't have enough knowledge. And even though they're supposedly the academics sitting in professorial seats, they're not behaving like professors. They're not behaving like academicians. They're making fun of somebody because it allows them to work out their own personal insecurities, and that's not going to happen on my watch.
It's actually really fascinating because, unless I'm mistaken, what you're saying is, look, you might be wrong about 99% of this stuff, but the 1% might be really significant, which is staggering to me that Terrence Howard has gone through life as a movie actor, is suddenly doing stuff which is, to you, quite groundbreaking in the very complex world of science and mathematics and so on.
It's not in science and it's not in mathematics.
Right.
If he's doing something that I recognize, it's in engineering, art, and it's possible that he's doing something, you know, I was able to recognize where his shapes come from, where Neil does not appear to understand, which is fine. So, you know, there's some very beautiful geometry, but it doesn't appear to me to be at a research level. And I don't want to conflate, again, I'm not being, I'm hardly a pushover. I'm saying he's wrong in chemistry, physics, and mathematics. In fact, it doesn't rise to the level of a theory that needs to be actively considered. That said, to dismiss everything he's saying because we can find, you know, sometimes a fly lands in your dish and you insist that it be taken back at a restaurant. Other times you just say, you know, 5-second rule, you're hungry, and it's not the fault of the restaurant, and you just let it go. And my feeling about this is, what Neil did is really troubling. What he did is that he advertised a fake openness, which is just submit what your work is to a peer-reviewed journal. Neil doesn't know the history of peer review, doesn't know why it's called peer review, has no concept of what peer review actually is, which is bizarre, or he does know, and he's deliberately going to waste Terrence Howard's time because Terrence isn't a peer. And the whole concept of peer review, the word peer isn't like a jury of your peers, your fellow citizens. It's like peers as in terms of the House of Lords. The whole idea of peer review is to keep the laity, the people who don't do science for a living or medicine for a living, out of the review process. And that's where it was born. That's why it grew up in the 60s and 70s as peer review. It was as part of a struggle where scientists wanted to wall off their kingdom and say, look, we are taking public money, but we don't want public review. You're not qualified to be here. Shut up, get out of our lab, and let us work. And that's why it's so fiercely defended, is because it's the last-ditch effort to keep the laity from interfering in matters that they can't understand.
science itself has been under probably a bigger public assault in terms of its validity as a result of the COVID pandemic than I can ever remember in my lifetime, certainly. Is it damaging when everybody on social media suddenly becomes an epidemiologist, whatever it may be, different type of science you like, or medical expert, whatever. When their views get amplified, like Terence Howard, if they're completely wrong, they get amplified and shared gazillions of times, as has happened here, a lot of the things that he said. Is it damaging to the integrity of science when that happens? And is that a unique problem with social media amplifying amateur scientific and medical views?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question. I would think that we would begin somewhere else. The greatest damage is when we amplify pseudoscientists who happen to be official pseudoscientists. So when you take a director of NAI, National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Disease, and you take that person's contradictory pronouncements and you amplify those, then suddenly everybody has to learn what mRNA is because they're trying to make a decision for their child, and suddenly you've thrust them into advanced biology because you've amplified pseudoscience coming out of the National Institute of Health or the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DITRA. The failure and the pseudoscience is coming from inside the house. The problem is when a Francis Collins and an Anthony Fauci in private emails can turn their dissenting colleagues, fully competent, expert, dissident colleagues like Jay Bhattacharya and his colleagues at Harvard and Oxford, and overnight they become fringe epidemiologists, right? So more or less what you're seeing is not a failure of science. What you're seeing is a failure of science to disavow public health. Public health is not science. Public health is an incredibly bizarre field that tries to straddle two worlds of actual truth and the noble lie. And, you know, as I've said before, the problem is the failure to cancel an ex-spouse's credit card privileges. When a person takes the credit card on a spree, science did not cancel its credit card that it had given to public health. And so what we had was an incredible destruction of trust in science.
What the fuck,
which is completely unwarranted.
What's going on here, man?
Because people who are not acting as scientists, who may have at one time been scientists but have gone over to public policy, were allowed to lie on science's behalf. That's
Bring
a failure.
Jeffrey Epstein back to life.
The credit rating got beaten up, but for God's sakes, just cut off the credit card and learn where scientists lie and where they do not. They don't lie generically. There's nothing wrong with Hooke's law. There's nothing wrong with the adapter hypothesis in biology. There's nothing wrong with most of what we consider to be science. We lie in very special places out of necessity.
Let me bring in the other two guests now to debate actually what you've been saying. Professor Brian Keating, cosmologist from San Diego University, and Tom Bilyeu is the Impact Theory podcast host. Professor Keating, your response to what you've just been hearing from Eric?
Well, I think as scientists we have a responsibility. You know, Eric's known for coining the term the intellectual dark web, and I feel like as scientists we have a responsibility to keep the intellectual environment clear of pollution. And I feel like there is a tendency, because of this anti-authoritarian moment that we seem to be in, to view science as authoritarian. And then to rebel against it, we look to heroes and people like Terence or Candace Owens or people like Tucker Carlson. And they get enormous platforms because of their social media stature. But to me, you know, to listen to people who have no domain expertise and no proven track record is an affront to actual practicing scientists. And it's fine to have a hobby, it's fine to do things, you know, out of an avocation, a love for it, but it's a bit, to me, an example of the halo effect, which is a cognitive bias. And you have people you're listening to, in some cases, it's akin to listening to your friend Piers, you know, Andrew Tate for marital advice. He may be a great MMA star, and Terence may be a great actor, but that gives them no and confers no benefit to their scientific practices. And it'd be like me going onto the set of Iron Man and, you know, trying to be like Terrence. You would laugh me off the stage, and rightfully so. So we have to look at and examine these claims that amateurs can do good science. You know, Eric pointed out in the interview that there's some babies in with the bathwater. And I'd love to ask my dear friend Eric to expound upon those particular babies, because to me, to say that there might be some angle or something like that, or some drone, or it sounds to me a little bit like damning with faint praise as well. Because if you go through and there's 97 patents that he claims he has, we go through them, we find out that very few of them have been granted. There may be a couple that have been granted. You go through 1 × 1 = 2. Eric demonstrated clearly that's not the case. You go through the periodic table, his ideas are completely wrong there. His claims about gravity and building planets, that he's built the planet Saturn, or it comes out of a biological digestive process of the sun, these things are completely fallacious. So I think there's a danger, and it's a symptom of the halo effect.
The problem, just a point about Andrew Tate, he's not a friend of mine, he's someone I've interviewed 3 times, but the point I make about him, I was debating something the other day, is he has a huge following on social media, regardless of whether people like me interview him. At least when I interview him, I get a chance to challenge him. And I've really noticed when young men in particular come up to me in the street, which they do with alarming regularity about Andrew Tate, that actually the conversation I have with them has moved from, God, you know, Andrew Tate, isn't he amazing, blah, 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 to, I really liked it when you challenged him about this, this, and this. In other words, shining a light on people like Andrew Tate, actually challenging them on a big platform, I see tangible impact on the street of those challenges kicking through into people's consciousness in a way they wouldn't if he was just able to do his thing slightly below radar on social media without ever being challenged. So that's my kind of theory about why I interview people like him, which is in itself open to debate, obviously. Eric, just in that response to the baby and bathwater, what would you say to Brian Keating's point there?
Well, I tried to say it already, that if you take the vertices of a tetrahedron as measured from the center, you're looking at an angle of the arc cosine of -1/3, which is about 109.47 in degrees. And if you take the interior angles of a regular pentagon, it's 108. So 108 is not 109.47, but it is close enough so that within engineering tolerances, you can put 6 of these motors into a regular tetrahedron, and then you can potentially, therefore, traverse all of the dimensions needed to orient the object around its center of mass and to move it to any point 3-dimensional space. I've stated that clearly to any technical person who wants to hear it. It may be that there's prior art, and it may be that it doesn't end up being that interesting because of the tolerances or it's too difficult to work. That's fine. But I've already stated what the baby is. And further, you know, Brian, I was very surprised that you just corrected me on social media. Now, of course, we're friends, and so I don't mind having this back and forth. But you've stated that in my field, that peer review is much older than Ghislaine Maxwell, who was born in 1961. And you cited a bunch of journals in physics. And in fact, that's simply not true. In part, well, you know, I have Melinda Baldwin's article here, which says, however, most papers accepted for physical review never went out to referees at all. The editor accepted most papers on its own authority, consulting referees only when he thought he might want to reject a paper. It was not until the 1960s that all physical review papers were sent out for external referee opinion. More or less, peer review comes out of Utah in 1972 through Senator Wallace Bennett's amendment that forces the issue into the NIH framework, because the Medicare Act was established in 1965, making the U.S. taxpayer responsible for medical payments, that they suddenly wanted access to knowing, why are we paying all of this money to doctors without the ability to question them? So, you know, in part, what I'm astounded by is that we're not even aware of our own history. If George Green, the miller, with no formal education, mailed off a solution to an inversion problem for differential operators, which is what gives us Green's functions, which Feynman made famous. He didn't have any training whatsoever. It's in part very dangerous to be offended when people listen to what we say and they then say, I keep hearing that science is for everyone and that mathematics is a great place to play, there are no bad questions. And then when they appear to take an interest, we cut their heads off. And my feeling is that I'm not going to do that. I'm going to state what this is. This is an elite activity. It's elite the way a violinist is elite. It's elite the way a surgeon is an elite brain surgeon. You're not going to have somebody say, hey, I've been doing brain surgery in my backyard on my family members and I'm ready for prime time. We are not honest about the extent that this is an elite community. And the last thing that I would add to what you said is part of the problem is, where are the dissident scientists who don't go along inside of the university system, inside of the research institutions? If you had them, they would have been tarred and feathered during DEI, because they would have said, who are these foreign intruders into the academic arena? We must fire them and get them out. Claudine Gay could never have become president of Harvard. What we've done is we've gotten rid of all of the dissenting experts. And the dissenting experts who are going to get up and at the top of their lungs say, hey, we've got a disaster in theoretical physics at the moment. We have an abomination in the way in which we are pretending that random mutation is decidedly the main engine of Darwinian selection. We're going to pretend that neoclassical economics is on solid ground. All of these things are just absolutely silly, and effectively there are no professors who are standing up in good standing as experts doing the job that now Candace Owens is going to fill. Okay. And I promise you that it's more expensive to get rid of your dissenters who actually know what they're talking about than it is to open it up to a public that wonders whether they've just shortened the life of their child by giving them an unnecessary experimental pseudo-vaccine.
All right, let me bring in Tom, who's been waiting very patiently. Tom, what's your perspective on this?
So I think the key thing to understand is, if you're arguing at the level of the specifics of the science, you have already lost. So the goal here has to be to understand that we are living in the age of conspiracy, and that is the problem. When I saw the interview with Terrence Howard and Joe Rogan the first time, I just about dislocated my finger dialing Eric to call him up to be like, hey, you have to refute this stuff. And the reason that I was very excited to see that he went on and did that so well, Eric, you are a national treasure, is that it does not matter to me what the elites think in isolation. All that happens is, if people have an idea that hits a critical mass, they begin to bifurcate. I mean, this is like the multiverse, where we no longer have a shared vision of what is true. That has second and third order consequences that I think are going to be terrifying for the nation. And when you have a thinker like Eric, who can actually go through and say, hey, let me steal, man, what I have heard you say, which Joe and Terrence would not let him do, which I was mortified by, because he should have just laid it out. Here are the base assumptions, and then we're going to build up from that. Now, the reason that I want that to happen is, when an idea, whether it is terrible, whether it is obviously terrible, whether every elite person in the world who does science is like, this is the worst idea ever, you have to understand, because of a whole host of things, but certainly COVID being a nice mile marker for us, it broke people's trust in elites to lead us properly. It broke our trust in science. And so now you must, in fact, I will say, scientists, I love you all. You have no obligation to do what I'm saying. I beseech you, as somebody who wants society to move forward well, that if an idea hits a certain level of critical mass in the public's awareness, even if you hate it, you are going to have to address it if you want to lead us well forward. But you have to do it based on base assumptions, so that anybody following along at home that's trying to build their thinking up can go, oh, I actually understand Terrence's base assumptions. 1 × 1 = 2. All things are in motion. There's no straight lines. Like things that, okay, have I understood your position perfectly, Terrence? Yes, Eric, you have. Okay, amazing. Now I'm going to walk through each of those base assumptions and show you which ones are broken and how that is going to make the rest of your sequencing fall apart. If people would just stay focused on utility, these beliefs work in the real world, we would be in a much better position.
Okay.
And that's what I want to see more of.
Okay, let me bring Brian in. Before I come to you, Brian, though, I want to play a clip from Candace Owens. This was several days after the debate that Rogan and Terrence had.
Why I am now rejecting the cult of science. So many things that they lied to us about. Vaccines, birth control, people that are being injured, and we just accept everything that I said was that science has become a pagan faith. Yes, that's what I actually believe.
Do you want to say that NASA has satanic origins and so on? Now, I interviewed Candace myself recently, and she's a bona fide anti-vaxxer, doesn't believe in vaccines at all. And she has a big following, and there are lots of people like her out there now saying that because there have been legitimate areas of concern around the COVID vaccines, that everything about them is flawed and wrong, and therefore all the scientists who promoted them are the devil. And this stuff, it gathers momentum. I see it spreading like wildfire. You know, she also says that Emmanuel Macron's wife is a man, despite having had 3 kids and so on. And these things gather their own momentum. And whilst on one level it's sort of humorous, on another level it's actually, I think, very damaging, because it means that scientists can never be wrong again. Because if they're wrong about any one aspect of a big thing like a COVID pandemic, which is fast moving and evolving and changing, if they're wrong about any aspect of it, the whole thing gets trashed by this community.
This is why we have to understand that this is about the age of conspiracy. The very thing that Eric, I agree with you about, is to say science is about figuring out where we are wrong. And if scientists stake their reputation, as they have done over the last 4 or 5 years, entirely on always being right, then if I can pull one thread and it falls apart, everything is dead. But if science just gets behind Feynman's statement that this is about distrusting experts and figuring out where they're wrong, now it can become a far more fruitful pursuit of what actually works.
Okay, Brian, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Tom, just because someone's an expert doesn't necessarily mean that you have to distrust them. When you look at something, there's a concept called Brandolini's Law, which my kids are nearby, so I'm not going to say it in its full terms. But it's basically that there's 10 times easier to refute it. Therefore, the world is full of unrefuted BS. And to put that on scientists, to make us sort of the intellectual SEAL Team 6, where we can never be wrong. The terrorists only have to be right once, and everyone else is relying on us, SEAL Team 6, that we're never wrong. To put that in perspective, you know, when you listen to people like this, Candace tweeting from her laptop and enabled by technology that was invented at Bell Labs, that was the byproduct of the space race, which she also denies, moon landings and so forth. Yeah. We're not in New Age. We're in a pre-scientific age where people can, unfortunately, spread not scientific truth via scientific proof, which, Eric, I'm sorry to say, my academic genealogy goes back 17 generations. Every single one of those people, including my students, I'm now in my 3rd generation. I have graduate students, I have their own graduate students. They've all been through peer review. We didn't have Pergamon Press and Robert Maxwell. That is true. Einstein published almost all of his famous papers. They were done by peer review. In fact, the discovery of gravitational waves, one of the most revolutionary discoveries in all of science, that prediction, he first tried to get submitted in the early 1930s, and he didn't want to get peer review, and there was an error in it. He said it would never be detected. Imagine that. Einstein made a mistake. But thanks to peer review, that paper was published in 1936, and it went on to win the Nobel Prize for some of my good friends. I've interviewed 20 Nobel laureates on my podcast, and 3 of them won the Nobel Prize for the discovery of the thing that Einstein thought was impossible. We can go back many, many generations. And yes, they didn't have presses. Of course, the printing press was only a relatively recent invention. But you go to the peer review process. Not far from where Piers is right now is the Royal Society, and also not too far away is the Royal Institution. I've been to both places. I've lectured there. And when you go to those places, yes, there wasn't a press, but you gather your peers around you and you do an experiment and that experiment would either fail or pass in real time, and you would get feedback from a jury.
Okay.
Jury.
Okay, Eric, it's interesting watching Elon Musk. I was with him actually the other day.
Wait. I have to respond.
Okay, respond.
Brian, what you just said is not true. You know, it's just the fact is that Einstein
paper was not
for the most
in
part,
1936 after peer review error.
Sorry, that was John Tate, who was the editor at Physical Review before Simon Pasternak, before Sam Goodschmidt. Yes, it is true that most of Einstein's work was not peer-reviewed. That's why he was incensed. He never sent another paper to Physical Review. If I'm not incorrect, please check me on it.
Was that paper?
The fact is, there was one paper with Rosen that was peer-reviewed, which incensed Einstein because he was used to not being peer-reviewed.
And he was wrong about it. Until peer review pointed out by Eddington helped out as well and said that there was an error in the calculation.
Peer review is not referee review, right? We had external referees that were occasionally sought, but what you cite about the Royal Society is in fact an error introduced into the literature by Merton, the famous historian of science, who is the father of the Black-Scholes-Merton fame. And that was an erroneous claim that peer review began, I think, in the 1700s. What we currently call peer review is far more recent, and it is fantastic to find out that our professorate does not know the history of peer review in its own subjects. Because what we have is we have a chorus of people with the highest credentials repeating a fable. And we can't always tell when we've been, when malware has entered our minds. But I would submit to you, sir, that despite your pedigree, in general, your predecessors were not peer-reviewed in any modern sense of the term before the 1970s, certainly before the 1960s. The beginning of forms for external referees begins, I think, in the 1930s under John Tate. I just don't think you know the history.
I do know it, and in fact, I invite you to go down to the Royal Institution next time you're in London, and you'll see pictures of Michael Faraday, of J.J. Thomson, of Eddington. You'll see them in front of audiences. Was there a peer review process before journals? When did the journal Nature start?
Perfect hit themselves in the face right now. As somebody that loves YouTube, literally, I know both these guys. Eric, I know very well. Both have been on my show. Brian, I love you guys. So I say this because I am begging you. The average person wants to chew through their TV set right now or their laptop as they're listening to this, and the reason is they don't care about this. It's already done. The world
sorry.
No, hold on. Let me finish. The world cares about people like they want to hear what Joe Rogan has to say. They want to hear who goes on his show. They are absolutely going to listen to Candace. I think, Brian, you brought that up. Candace is about to sweep the world. And if I could just get you guys on board with the reality that we are in a very difficult moment right now where, yes, you guys are being asked to do a public service, which is to collide with these people who do not have your scientific bona fides, but the average person does not care, but they will actually listen to your collision of ideas for sure, because I took a lot away from you talking to Terrence. And the first time I heard Terrence, I was like, maybe this is genius, I don't know.
You know, it's so interesting. I was going to say, actually, Eric, earlier that I saw Elon Musk recently, met him for the first time, and he did a fascinating Q&A about everything from colonizing Mars to humanoid robots and so on. But we talked about X, this purchase of Twitter and then taking to X. One of the best things I've seen in terms of populist peer review is community notes now on X, where I often see things which are spinning around, which are complete nonsense, and then you see a very well-sourced community note killing it, and it does seem to have an effect, because that in itself, because it's happening in the same medium, starts to also spread like wildfire and tends to kill them quite quickly. Are you a fan of what Elon is doing with X? Is this helping in terms of populist peer reviewing?
Right. Yeah. Again, this is one of these Wild West conversations where it's not peer review. The whole concept of peer review is peer. And community notes is community, right? And so in a certain sense, the point is it's an anti-peer review. It's working pretty well right now. But keep in mind that Wikipedia worked pretty well until people figured out how to game it.
Right.
So my concern is that what you're looking at with peer review and with community notes, which is anti-peer review, if you will, is technologies that are in the process of being probed and gamed. And just to refute what Tom was saying before, Tom, I don't disagree at all. We are going to have to deal with the Candace phenomenon. But the reason the Candace phenomenon is happening is that you don't have any expert dissident opinion. If you have 5 professors shout me down that I don't know what I'm talking about with respect to peer review, and I happen to be completely right, I will be told that I'm not an academic, despite the fact that we all speak the same language and have the same credentials. What is going on is that the world is not crying out for Candace Owen. It's crying out for, where is the physician with my daughter's interests at heart? Where is the biologist who's willing to stand up to a Tony Fauci and say, I completely disagree? Why is it that we keep having these fake consensuses? And these consensuses are basically determined by getting rid of the people who won't shut up and who won't sit down and who won't sing from the hymnal. What I'm trying to say is what you just saw was an interchange between 2 colleagues with a great deal of love and respect for each other on an issue where I'm claiming that the good professor is simply an error. And if you had somebody saying that around the Wuhan lab and the origin of COVID, or the potential danger of the vaccines, or the liability regime in which they were negotiated, that this is an abomination, that we can't sue the manufacturers, you would have a totally different world. Nobody would be listening to Candace Owen. They would be trying to track Jay Bhattacharya. They would be trying to track all of the experts who were standing up with their interests at heart. The big problem in the United States is we used to have experts in the right chairs who dissented. And now what you have is a group of people who know to keep their head down.
Brian, just want to end with just quick thoughts from you and Tom before we finish. Give me some hope about the future of science. Clearly, I think it's indisputable that science and the integrity of science and scientists has never been under a bigger attack than it is today. A lot of it fueled by conspiracy theorists and social media. Give me some hope for the future of science and its integrity.
I think the hope comes from my students, the people that I work with, the incredible breakthroughs that I've been witness to, both personally and part of a team of 300 scientists that are working to uncover what happened during the first nanosecond in the cosmos' history. What kind of breakthroughs do we now unlock, knowing that the universe is suffused with dark energy? What do we learn about the future, possibly with new technology, like high temperature, room temperature superconductivity, or perhaps fusion? It's never been a more exciting time to be a scientist, and to hear about science, its best days are behind us. I think that's nonsense. On the other hand, we have to guard against conspiracy theories and flat earthers and all sorts of anti-vaxxers and things like that, because there is always a grain of truth. As Isaac Asimov said, if you believe the earth is flat, you're wrong. But if you believe it's perfectly round too, you're also wrong, but you're less wrong. And I think what we want to do as scientists is not be held to this impossible Secret Service level where we can't make a single mistake. Recognize that we do make mistakes, but science is self-correcting, and part of that self-correction mechanism has to do with being analyzed by your peers. Whatever Eric and I disagree with about in the past, today peer review is perhaps, as I like to say, it's the worst system for gauging scientific process, except for all the rest.
Tom?
All right, so the thing that I really want to make sure that I'm being heard on, Brian, because you keep repeating we shouldn't be held to this SEAL Team 6 level of perfection. What I'm saying is science has a branding problem. You guys created a branding problem. I'll just say during COVID, where it was, hey, everybody listen to us and everything is going to be fine. Masks don't work, by the way, but save them for the health workers because they need them. It's like, so everyone's brain starts sketching out. Also, no one has talked about social media yet. Social media, this is done. The horses are out of the stable. The toothpaste is all over the floor. The genie has flown out of the bottle. We are living in a reality where everybody is a publisher, everybody is going to say things, and people are screaming out for Candace Owens. I'm telling you right now, as somebody, I'm almost sure I'm going to disagree with every word out of her mouth, and yet I am utterly fascinated by how she has already captured people in terms of their imagination, because this is what they want. As a marketer, I can tell you, you guys are terrible. Like, if I have to market you, oh God, even though I look at Eric and I'm like, is this the smartest human I've ever encountered? For sure. Do I want him at my house just whispering in my ear all the things to do? Absolutely. My life would be way better. However, from a marketing perspective, oh dear God. So it's like we have a much bigger challenge that we have to overcome. And Candace doesn't have that problem. She's electrifying. She captures what people want to hear. And what I'm saying is, the service you guys can now play in the world that we live in is to say, science isn't about being right. Science is about two things. Number one, the pursuit of utility. Einstein's breakthroughs matter because they give us GPS and nuclear energy. That's the only reason that they matter. And the second thing is, we know we're wrong about a whole lot of stuff. And so our job is just go through what are all the things we're wrong about that are stopping us. And I hope I'm not talking out of class, Erica, please God. But Eric has said to me many times, we ought to be traveling the cosmos. And we aren't because string theory has gotten stuck. Exactly. So you have to get new ideas. You have to break the old paradigms in order to get the utility that you want. And if we judge every idea by its utility and not by where it comes from, we'll be in a much better place.
You know that the best thing about this debate, Tom, is that it's actually by having this kind of conversation on a platform like this that is watched globally in pretty big numbers now, that we can probably get to where you want to get science to. And the other thing I'll observe is I host a lot of debates between people who disagree, and they normally end up screaming at each other. What I loved about you three was the more abusive you became, in a very nice, polite manner, the more you all laughed. That is the way to debate. So thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you, Pierce.
Thank you.
No living being should ever eat processed food for every single meal of their life.
Good.
Democrat to lean Democrat, and Nevada toss up to lean Republican. So this is a new one. This is a new one. It just came out. They're very quite respected and influential. The Cook Political Report. They've said they are changing their rating for the Michigan Senate race from lean Democrat to toss up. Look, and this is a big reason that many members of Congress either have, well, so far I think it's about 15 or so, have Democratic members of Congress have said they don't want Biden to run. But a big reason that many members of Congress are concerned and whether or not they publicly said they don't want Biden to run is they think that Biden could drag down Democratic candidates running for the House and the Senate. And you can see that's why Cook Political Report says, as Senate Democrats attempt to defy President Biden's gravitational pull, Michigan Senate race moves from lean D to toss-up. And Jessica Taylor from Cook Political Report says incumbent Democrats are running ahead of Biden for Congress seats for now, but I think she means that she's specifically saying the Senate. Little data so far, but open seats harder without an established brand. And then the Michigan Senate race. Is this it here? Yes, Hill Harper. Do I have this right? And Alyssa Slotkin? Slotkin is the candidate for the U.S. Senate. Oh wait, I got that wrong. I'm sorry. I think I got that wrong. I'm not up to date on the Michigan Senate race. I should be, so I apologize for that. Slotkin and Rogers. Slotkin and Rogers. Mike Rogers is the Republican candidate. And, oh, sorry, they actually, you know what? They haven't had their primary yet. Is that what it is? That's why I'm getting confused. When is the Michigan primary? Yes, the primary in, all right, I was getting very confused. I thought they had their primary already. The primary in Michigan is on August 6th. That's when they have. So that's what's going on. There's more than 2 candidates. Anyways,
Let me show you how to clean synthetic paintbrushes and reshape their bristles. To demonstrate, I've got a selection of brushes here that have seen better days. All of them are pretty caked with acrylic paint, PVA glue, or a mystery mix of the two. As you can see, these are just unusable at the moment. I'm a big fan of synthetic brushes. They have a nice, firm, bouncy feel, they're fantastic workhorses for day-to-day hobbying, fine art, miniature painting, and even DIY. And best of all, they are really, really cheap. But they are a bit prone to staining, warping, and fraying. Let's try to fix them up as best we can. Grab all the brushes that you want to clean up, as it's way easier to do this in batches rather than just one by one. Get a drop of dish soap and rub it into the bristles of each paint-caked brush and set them aside while we prep the water. Now we're going to need freshly boiled water. Hot water from the tap just isn't going to cut it for this, unfortunately. Heat it up on the hob, in a kettle, or in a microwave until it starts to bubble. Pour it out into a high-sided, heat-safe container to minimize the risk of accidentally burning yourself. Now we'll add a glug of vinegar to the water. Vinegar is quite acidic, and it eats through grime and dirt pretty easily. Now, one by one, dip your problem brushes in the water and smush them around the bottom of whatever container you are using. You should already start to see the brush coming back to life a bit. After a few seconds, take the brush out and wipe it on a rag. Cotton, synthetic, microfiber, an old t-shirt, it doesn't really matter. When you're doing this, don't jam it down tip first. Try to roll it around, focusing on the edges where the bristles meet the ferrule, the metal bit that holds the bristles to the handle. If it's still a bit stained or stiff or crusted up, give it another dip in the water and repeat the whole process. I mean, it sounds simple, and it is really. This is the most effective and probably the cheapest way of cleaning acrylic paint from synthetic brushes that won't damage the bristles and doesn't use any nasty, harsh chemicals. We don't have to stop there.
You didn't say acrylic. I'm looking for how to clean oil.
Play in every day. Upgrade with over 1 million parts and accessories and bring your truck to life. Real Truck.
Lots going on right now, so we called Empire.
Our sales associate was great. He brought us all kinds of samples.
The installation was super easy. They even double-checked the order with me before they started.
Yeah, actually, the carpet changed the whole look and feel of our houses.
Hey, this is just a quick video on how to extend the life of your brushes. And I've got a few things here. I've got my Silicoil, which I use to clean my brushes. It's just a jar with a coil inside of it. Then I got this brush restorer from Trekell, available from Trekell.com. And that's going to be important. I'm going to show you how to use that. And then I just got my rag here. So as you can see on this brush, I'm painting every day, and one of these brushes will last me about 2 to 3 weeks. And before, it was even less. And basically what happens is, no matter how good you clean it, your bristles just have a lifespan. And that's unfortunately kind of an expense you just have to start getting used to paying if you want to paint all the time. But what happens is paint gets built up here, right where the metal part meets the bristles. And as that gets built up, it causes the bristles to splay out. I don't know if you can really see the bottom here, but the bristles are actually kind of splayed out there. And so this can be a problem. Like I said, every brush has its day, so to speak. So, but one thing which I discovered was this stuff from Trekell. It's just called Brush Restorer. And all you do with this, it's like a gel. You can see it here. Yeah. So it's just like this fine gel. And you dip your brush into it. And then you just kind of work it and shape your brush. Work it into the bristles a little bit. And you can see it gets the actual point back. And I found I can actually extend my brushes quite a bit farther. I'd say almost twice as far. So now one brush is lasting me about a month. And these are like $3 brushes. So they're not like really nice brushes. But then you can see after you let this stuff dry, and it kind of gets hard actually. So that kind of springiness that you get with a new brush is kind of brought back with this stuff. So I recommend, picking this up because this stuff is pretty cool. Trekell Brush Restorer, and then you.
Just ordered this shit right here.
Let it dry. You just leave it on your brush like this, and it gets a tip back actually. And like I said, you can look at this brush. Really, if we're honest about ourselves in this brush doesn't have a lot more time in it. But you know, this is an expense I have to pay every month. So if I'm saving 40 or 50 bucks a month on brushes, maybe if I can extend them twice as far. So yeah, check that out and stay tuned for more videos.
From idea to submission, empower students to do their best work with Reynolds Generative AI. What if they could jumpstart ideas
Yeah,
from
that
any
shit
side?
looked pretty damn cool. I literally just ordered that shit on Amazon. Cause man, my friend got me some brushes a while ago. I've had them way longer. I've had these for a couple months now. And yeah, even though I keep them as clean as I possibly can, like the tips are starting to fray a little bit. But I definitely don't want to sit these brushes down. So hey, if that product works and I can keep painting with these brushes for a few more months, hell yeah, I need that. Let me get that.
Very quickly, and mention a very quick congratulations to England and France, who held their elections to great success. We would talk about them tonight, but we're in America. So, last week we did a live show after the debate. Where did we leave off? This cannot be real life. It just can't. We're America. God. Ah, yes, anger and despair. By the way, for those of you at home, the scripts are printed on Kevlar, which is why I had trouble. It's no way weak fingers. Now, since the debate, it's been quite interesting, actually. Many Democrats have expressed concern that the president has a hard time expressing thoughts. And then there is this other camp who thinks that those people should shut the up.
The future is not just going to happen. You have to make it. And if you want a successful business, all it takes is an idea. And now becomes the future. A future where you grew a dream?
Stop this whining, stop the complaining, stop trying to be the cool, cynical kids.
I would not want to be in a foxhole with any of the people who, were clutching their pearls all of a sudden. Pearl clutching and hand wringing.
Or bedwetting and soaking all the way through the mattress. We panic and piss our pants.
First of all, I'm not sure incontinence is the metaphor you want to go with. And second of all, when are we going to free Senator Fetterman from the Turkish prison he's being held in? I don't know. This is bad. But to those of you who say these concerns are simple pearl wetting and bed clutching, we all make mistakes, I thought I would take a moment to explain where the concern about Biden's performance might be coming from.
why these concerns may be seen as a more foundational issue. You see, even before the debate, there have been some troubling moments of disconnect from the president. You know, perhaps this chart could, if I may, sorry, the pen caps are made of Kevlar. Very difficult to. Perhaps this chart will illustrate and illuminate the point more clearly. For instance, in 2022, when we saw Biden give a shout out to Representative Jackie.
Representative Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? I didn't think she was going to be here.
Unfortunately, Jackie was dead. It's something that the president seemed to have known 6 weeks earlier when he released a condolence statement about her death. So, then there was the recounting of a recent conversation that the president had had with his counterpart, the president of France.
And Mitterrand from Germany, from France, looked at me and said, you know, why, how long are you back for?
Unfortunately, Mitterrand is also dead. For longer even than that first lady, so... And even on teleprompter, things continue to... Like the reading of the instructions people sometimes add to teleprompter scripts.
The percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. At the Catholic school I went to, there's a guy named Riley, last name. 4 more years. Pause.
Then, of course, to be fair, State of the Union. Concern dropped a little bit at the State of the Union. He kind of nailed it. But then the debate happened, and we kind of, what the f***? What? Now, to my mind, the debate was a shocking display of cognitive difficulty, recognizable to, unfortunately, anybody who's dealt with aging parents, and it's a hard watch. But there were many viewers who felt it was not as noteworthy as Biden's opponent in the debate.
It's pretty amazing that 90% of the conversation is around Joe Biden's style. When up on that stage, Donald Trump was engaged in a level of pathological lying that we've never seen.
Shouldn't the discussions also be about Trump's fitness to serve?
Every time he opened his mouth, he said something insane or that was a lie. Why aren't there calls for Trump to drop out? Where are they?
Yeah. Why doesn't anyone ever speak out about Donald Trump? Or, let's say, every night for 10 f***ing years. Well, you know what? I take your point. Not me, because I wasn't here, but other people. Fair point, and let's take a look at Trump's chart. He started with grab him by the pussy. I mean, what are you going to do? The whole thing's been bad. The whole thing. The difference is this. I will tell you the difference. I will tell you the difference. The difference is Trump delivered at the debate to expectation. We expect him to be crazy. But Biden's performance and inability to articulate at times was stunning. Like, I could not believe what I was watching. Just thinking about it again just makes me want to rip up my... Why do we make this out of such strong material? But then it got worse. Rather than respecting the American people and having an honest, at least partial conversation about what we had all seen, we were told immediately, these are not the droids you're looking for.
He has a stunner. He hasn't debated in 4 years.
He was almost over-prepared.
He had an off night. People have an off night.
You know, the president traveled 6 time zones forward to G7, and he was also continued to do his presidential duties, and also he had a cold. He was jet-lagged.
We try and take her on walks, and she would refuse to go. It was a chore to get her to go outside and even use the bathroom. We tried the farmer's dog, and within a week, she's doing zoomies around the backyard.
He'd been home for almost 2 weeks. He was jet-lagged? How big is that f***ing jet? The point is, for a campaign based on honesty and decency, the spin about the debate appears to be blatant bullshit. And the redemption tour hasn't gone that much better. Whether it's been on the radio...
I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, the first black woman, served with a black president.
Yes, Queen. Or whether the president is on prompter and fired up.
Let me say this as clear as I can. I'm staying in the race. I'll beat Donald Trump. I will beat him again in 2020.
I gotta tell you, somehow confusion with confidence is even more unsettling. Or when the president sat down with George Stephanopoulos to prove once and for all how cogent he is and to film a bronzer ad. Orange man good? None of this was reassuring. And we're told that the threat of Trump is so great and the stakes are so high that even bringing up these absolutely legitimate concerns about the president's ability to do the most vigorous job in the world for the next 4 years is enabling fascism. Yet even the president doesn't seem particularly alarmed.
If you stay in and Trump is elected and everything you're warning about comes to pass, how will you feel in January?
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the greatest jobs I know I can do. That's what this is about.
That's not what this is about! There are no participation trophies in endgame democracy. I remember FDR saying, well, if the Nazis take over Europe, at least both teams had fun. And it's really troubling as this new information has been introduced. We just learned about this, and now we're all being told, well, you should have thought of that before you knew it.
We can't go against the will of the voters. Democrats who voted in all 50 states in the primary, that is who they want to be their nominee.
He's the nominee because millions and millions of people voted for him to be our nominee, and he will be our nominee. End of story.
There was no real primary. Biden ran against Dean Phillips. That's not even a real person. That's a stock photo on the package for a garden hose. It's not a person. AI. And let me say this. Authoritarianism and Donald Trump aren't the only threats our democracy faces. And arthritic status quo, unable or unwilling to respond in any way to the concerns of voters who just received new and urgent information about their candidate, also erodes confidence and faith in the system of government. Get on board or shut the f*** up. It's not. Nor is, what are you gonna do?
Taking care of myself was not a selfish act.
Mindbloom helped me immensely, but it also helped me show up for my colleagues, my kids, and my husband.
My first session helped me realize that yes, my friends and family do love me, and I felt hopeful for a brighter future.
Mindbloom helped me enjoy everyday life in a way I forgot I could.
I've gotten a lot of texts today from folks who watched a lot of West Wing episodes and imagine a very complex path through which we might have a robust primary process. But Wolf, you know the reality. There's 4 months left to the presidential election.
4 months is forever. Britain just held an election in 2 months. France had 2 in 1 month, defeated fascism, and still had time to have an affair with Denmark. Are you telling me, you sons of bitches, are you coming to my house and saying to my face that the United States of Bruce Springsteen's America can't hold an election better than a French? Is that what you're telling me? In 4 months. 4 months. It's 119 days. There are contestants on The Bachelor who haven't even met yet that will get married and divorced between now and the election. We have nothing but time. And by the way, I am in no way saying Biden's got to drop out, but can't we stress test this candidacy? Can't we open up the conversation? Do you understand the opportunity here? Do you have any idea how thirsty Americans are for any hint of inspiration or leadership and a release from this choice of a megalomaniac and a suffocating gerontocracy? It is crushing our spirit. Do you have any idea what could be ahead of you? All we want is for someone to keep it 100. The percentage, not the age. That's all we want. Here's an idea. I'll spitball it. It's last minute. But why don't we try and get all the Democrats together in, I don't know, 6 weeks' time? We could get everybody to fly into some Midwestern town, maybe like one adjacent to important swing states. Let's call it Chicago. And they could spend, I don't know, 4 days there because nobody works Fridays anymore. And on Monday, anybody who wants to gives their sales pitch of how they can make democracy more responsive to the people it is supposed to serve. You can bang it out. On Tuesday, the winners could move on to the next round and then face Biden. They could face Biden. Biden had a bye. Wednesday would be an off-day bus tour to find the restaurant from the Bear. Thursday, the party emerges, energized, unified, sanctified. You could televise the entire proceeding for 4 days. You could call it, I don't know, The Apprentice. I'm just workshopping here. So, feel free to ignore any obvious weaknesses in your team's existential fight for freedom of democracy. And then just work up of this thing till November. Or take the advice of your own candidate.
Do you think there are any Democrat who can beat Donald Trump other than you?
Probably 50.
I gotta say,
All right, broskies and broskets. I think all my brushes are done. I'm out of here for the day. I'll get with y'all next time. Peace.